This is my first time truly putting out there in the world my first standalone game. Yes, I've shared it in the Discord and YouTube posts, Instagram Reels, TikTok even, but I've never actually said what is it that I'm working on. But I also wanted to make this video to just show the thoughts, the mindset, the challenges I had to overcome to get to this point of making my first standalone video game.
Subscribe.
Now, first, let me just start by saying this journey started way back when I first started getting into websites. I started to enjoy just making websites for my friend, even myself, on things like a Shopify, for example, or a WordPress. Very basic understanding of coding. And then Project Zomboid came along, a game I have really enjoyed playing because it kind of combines all of those life simulation things that I love in a game like The Sims, but that survival action element. Part of that is you can design clothing, items, furniture, you name it. I even made my dog as a stuffed animal that you can find in the game and even attach to your backpack. So modding is kind of, in theory, the guardrails before you start coding an entire video game. So the next thing that happened, I almost want to say it was almost like fate. Fellow coder told me he had a game on Roblox that he's been developing for a little over a year. I didn't know he was a coder, and what he made was fun. It was unique. It was him. It was what he pictured to be a video game. Well, come to find out, Zomboid and Roblox share a very similar coding structure. It's called Lua. Lua is used within a game that's already built. Project Zomboid and Roblox use, I'm sure, Python and a whole lot of things I definitely will say I do not know. It's almost like it's your game engines. Your game engine is already built. So now you use Lua to manipulate and change things within that game engine. I've been working on my Roblox experience for a little over 2 years now, and it is almost like my sandbox as a coder. I started out with a sliding door. That was literally my first project on Roblox. It has now expanded into a lot of things. We have jobs, we have businesses, you can get income, you have items, you have stats. There's a whole lot of things that are in the game, all things I've had to learn one by one. But once I learn one thing, I can go back and level up and change things and manipulate things that I've learned down this journey. What I'm doing in Roblox gave me the confidence for what this video is about. I feel like making your own standalone game kind of pulls it away from what you would expect to be on Roblox or what you would expect to be on Project Zomboid. And to add, around this time, I was getting hit over the head with a lot of YouTube videos of game developers just showing how hard this journey is. There's no support when it comes to building your own game. So one of my examples is I built a calendar in my game. It is a calendar that is unique to my game. Every tutorial was someone building a calendar for their game. But as far as your game goes, you're gonna have to figure it out. Literally starting from January, I knew I had to decide on a game development program. This is what AAA studios do. This is what indie development studios do, is what platform are we going to make our game on? And every platform has its pros and its cons. So I looked at 3, Unreal, Unity, and Godot. Immediately I crossed Unreal off. It's just a very, very built out 3D software. A lot of shooting games use Unreal right now. A lot of action games use Unreal. A lot of the tutorials, education, documents around it are around those 3D style action type games. So if that's something you want to do, that's probably the program you want. Unity felt like a good mix between Godot and Unreal. My biggest thing about Unity was definitely the cost associated with it. It's like they take a portion of whatever you sell your game for, or something around with the licensing agreement. So like it's free, but it's not really free, and like just a whole lot of weird things I just was like not liking. And it felt more professional. This is like a Photoshop. This is like Adobe Premiere. Like it's your commercial platform. And I felt like that wasn't me. I felt like I haven't made it to that point yet to say, yeah, I use Unity to make my hobby game. That is when I found Godot. Immediately, the community felt very, very, I don't want to use the word amateur, but indie. It felt like, hey, I'm doing this as a passion project. I'm doing this with no money. I'm doing this with my own art, my own sound. I'm doing this off the strength of what I can create. The downside to Godot is it is a crowd developed platform. So people aren't really making money working on Godot. So everything that has been made for it is community driven. That's down to the tutorials, that's down to the documents, that's down to anything support related to the platform. That could be a downside to someone, but how did I start this video? Basically said, if you're making your own game, be prepared to make your own solutions. That's it. That's any game development journey. This is unique to my game. There's probably 4 other versions of this in a universe of millions of games. And then finding out the type of games that have been made with Godot, from 2D to 3D to top down to pixel, you name it. You probably don't have experience in game development. You've probably seen some cool games that look like something you could make. This is probably the platform you want to start on. And my game in particular will be UI heavy. There's not going to be any 3D aspects yet, but I just wanted to start out with a UI type game. So I hop into Godot, open it for the first time. I'm looking at an empty screen and I'm like, crap, because Unity had a nice tutorial you could follow. Godot just has some YouTube videos from a guy who decided to make it yesterday with a script he made with ChatGPT. So, you know, it felt like I was already behind. But I had my experience from my Roblox game. I always tell people it feels like I'm making my Roblox game backwards because I didn't know so much before. So it's like I find out something, then I have to go back and fix it and adjust it to apply to what I know today. Where Godot, I'm now starting what I know today. And the first thing I know is be organized. Plan out your map, your buildings, make sure your naming is correct, your folders are named correctly. I had couch 1 and then couch 1 copy 7. Be organized. This is my game. This will be the functions that will be in my game. And don't go off of that list before you know how to achieve what's on there first. So what I use is Notion. Notion has been my favorite probably a little over 2 years now, where I'm able to categorize things, move stuff over to different categories, and just honestly write down what is on my mind. So that way I can go back and say, am I completely off, or is this exactly what I planned from the beginning? Because what happens is called scope creep. I talked about this in a previous video, where you spend time working on things that don't really apply to where you started at. But it was weird because this was the first time I have actually ever done this. So I started out with the concept. The concept of my game is a basketball simulation game where you are not the player, not the coach, not even the fans. You're the owner. That felt pretty good. The idea thrives from this mobile game I used to play all the time, where you made every decision, from the budget, the jersey sales, to some scout that you're getting from a random country, and now to my adulthood, where games like Football Manager are dominating. Just the amount of detail that goes into the game that has nothing to do with playing soccer. It's all around the strategy behind it, and I love those types of games. I don't want to be complex as Football Manager, but I want it to be a little bit more built out than a mobile game. So you see how I found my examples and I found, where does my game fit in? Let's just start out 2D style, UI style. Let's not worry about 3D. Let's not worry about the actual playing of the basketball games. Like, let's just focus on how can we make a simple strategy game. Godot is a beast and can really do anything from, like I said earlier, to 3D to pixel in the snap of a finger. So I had to just understand what all of those little modules do. But the thing is, you really don't have to learn what all of them do. You're probably not going to use any of them. Funny, in the video games you see the most, it's already been done before. And it's true, someone takes an idea and adds their own twist to it. So buttons and sliders and an intertext field, you see it over and over again. And once again, a UI on one game could be very simple once you realize they're using, I don't know, a combination of like 6 elements. But those were the first things I started to focus on was how does a slider work? How does text work? Like just the very basic things. So I started with a slider that kind of controls the ticket price. If I click on simulate, if 100 fans come to the game, how much would you make if the ticket price was set to $43? I leveled it up a bit by doing a small start menu to learn how to go from scene to scene, basically from the main menu just to that ticket slider screen, and even learned how to save the total of money you would earn if you just kept hitting simulate. You know, you've made $300,000 based on how many fans have came to the game based off of the ticket price you set. At this time, I was still playing around with the idea of who is the player. The player is the owner. And as the owner, who are the first people that you service? The fans. So I then started messing around with my first stat in the game, which was fan satisfaction. This would go up and down based on the ticket price. Once again, I'm just learning the basics here, even just how to properly place the buttons on the screen. Playing with the margins and horizontal fill and a bunch of stuff. If you're using Godot for the first time, you will spend a lot of time understanding what they do. The next thing was text fields. I want my game to be very customizable and of course want the players to be able to enter their own team name. You can see now I'm building my game. It's almost like Lego blocks, step by step, something I wish I would have did with my Roblox game. I started working on what the gameplay loop would be. For those who don't know, it's what you do in a game that repeats. For example, you accept a quest, you complete the quest, you upgrade your character, you go to the next quest. Make team adjustments, simulate days, review finances, make upgrades, and repeat. That's my gameplay loop. I also started getting ahead of organizing my files. Please don't open my Roblox files. A UI style game, it's actually a lot easier because in Godot, you're really just doing scenes and scripts. That's really the only two things you have to keep track of. I now feel like I was approaching the hardest part so far. Technically speaking, I'm nowhere close to a finished game right now, but generating other teams. I did it at a small level first to try and understand it, but then I couldn't get over how gray everything was. So I started learning how theming works in Godot. It's actually kind of cool because you can save the style of the buttons and apply those style of buttons to all of the buttons across the game. It was a good transition away from completely learning how to generate teams, but not only teams, but a very basic version of the dream game I want to build. Your team plays in games. You adjust things to earn revenue depending on how well your team does. The price of your tickets affects your revenue, how many people come to the games, and how well your team does. I even started messing around with what we all care about. Who was first place? Now, was all of those small details happening right now? Kind of, but once again, this was the rough version of the game I already have pictured in the development. I started to mock out my UI a bit more, ignoring if the color or the size isn't right, just what I would want it to look like. That single-handedly made UI easier to me. I made a TikTok about this, just basically saying if you already have knowledge of like UI and user experience on digital platforms, like you are so ahead, because in video games, it's hard to know what feels right. But there's databases out there that shows what are all the best loading screens, what are all the best main menu screens, where you can kind of understand, okay, this is just the basic concept of what every video game loading screen looks like. This is the basic concept of what every option screen looks like. You can see the UI. I have a team record, date of the game, expected attendance, the black rectangle on the side. I want to eventually turn into some sort of news / social media news feed, but this is the game's home screen. And for my game, I want to create a story. So before you get to the actual start of the story, you need an introduction. You as the owner of the team is your role play. I created a personality test to give a certain personality type. In the future, we can add a ton of bonuses to this, random events, you name it, advantages, disadvantages. This led to my favorite part of all of this so far, the first time adding art into my game. If this is your first time seeing me, the doodle stuff is actually my favorite art style, and that was very easy to translate to the character customization, a bunch of different layers that you can customize and change the color to once I made it all in grayscale. So going back now, I have a small starting journey of settings, name, your character. Now the other team's characters. Eventually you will be able to see the other team's owners, but as of now, I just needed the team logos, not only for the players to see, but just to be able to generate the teams a little bit better. I went back and forth on if I want the player to customize it, but I felt like I want to keep small touches of me in the universe. So all of the logos are ones that I've drawn and gained inspiration from just a lot of things that I've seen. As you see, I'm trying to build a one-of-one experience. When you click new game on my game, I want it to feel like you are going to go down a completely different route than you did before or the person that told you to play it. But shout out to my boy Wes. It's so cool to just start seeing it come together with the buttons and working on how the data is going to be saved and actually seeing the home screen starting to come together. Lastly, I knew something I would have to start working on is a working calendar. Mentioned that earlier. I posted it on TikTok and got a lot of feedback that this is actually pretty difficult. And it honestly didn't take that long, mainly trying to find a good place for it in the game. But man, thinking now, this is 4 months. But if we really want to be specific, I started Roblox in 2023. That is now 2 years ago. So yes, it probably is difficult to make a calendar. But now thinking I have over 3 years of game development experience leading up to this. And honestly speaking, I believe in 4 more months, I will have a version of this to have people in the community to start to play and give me feedback on, very similar to our Roblox development we're working on. I want to be able to give it to friends and family and people that I know would love to see my art and my storytelling wrapped into this game. But I say 4 months and I don't even have a title. I haven't even finished the game description yet. I don't even have a logo for the game. But I really want people to come across this video and to just see, no, you will not be able to make a video game in a week. I'm telling you, I have never felt more inspired and, having so much fun doing this than I have now. And it's taken me almost 3 years to get to this point. This journey started from projects like making a sliding door and making my dog into a stuffed animal. Fast forward to the last question. Is this my dream game? And I can honestly say it's already more than I could have dreamed of. So if you have made it this far, please drop a sub. I will hopefully be dropping these every couple months or so, the closer we get to a good working demo for the game. And please stick around for more content. We do a lot of things here, from coding to more storytelling gameplays. But once again, my name is Malik Childish. Shout out to the Childish crew that you see scrolling down this video for sponsoring it. They are a big reason a lot of these types of projects are possible at the moment. And please leave some comments, thoughts. What is on your mind? Do you have any questions? And yes, I do have a Discord if you want to talk with some like-minded people. We have coders in there, content creators in there, you name it. So thank you for watching. I will catch you on the next one. Woo! Two.